So I want to ask about the transition from Greeny to Trey. So did you have to like forget every Harry Met Sally quote and kind of update your brain to just start thinking in terms of Anchorman and Step Brothers and any Will Ferrell movie to understand the references?
Yes, it was very different because Greeny and I literally, when he sat down and when, as I said, we were auditioning, there were 13 people that were up to be my co-host after Tony Bruno left. And Greeny was not one of them. Greeny was just filling in for a day or two until the next quote unquote candidate sat down. But Greeny and I just clicked chemistry wise really well. You know, the nerd and the athlete, you know, we kind of played that game, and it turned out working real well. Now with Trey, so that's the first time Greeny and I even met was when he sat down and did that show. We did one or two more, and then all of a sudden we were doing a show together, and we didn't even barely knew one another. Trey and I had known each other since 2003 because after I first started out with Mark Malone, Sean Salisbury, and Merrill Hodge it was NFL Tonight then, and then Malone left, and then eventually Trey took over, and it was NFL Live. I was doing college football games, Mike and Mike, and NFL Live, and Trey was a host for years. And Trey lived 5 minutes from me in Connecticut.
Oh, see any Bears?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
all
right. Well played.
Yes.
Yes, I do see Bears. So we knew each other. So we had a relationship, and we were more alike personality-wise. And you're right, it was different being he was a TV anchor as opposed to Greeny more the journalist. So it was different in the fact that Trey and I knew each other for so many years before we even started.
Do you buy his explanation about the bear?
Oh, that it was that day and not an old picture?
Well, I think he said that it was an old picture that
but a bear came to his porch.
He didn't
that
mean
day.
He says he didn't mean for people to interpret the picture of the bear that he put up as being like, this is the bear that I just saw. He just found a picture of a bear.
I have seen bears on his property because where his house is, I've been to his house, and where his woods are, I have seen bears. I have seen his dogs by the bears. So now that particular bear, I don't know if that was, but I have seen bears on his property. Yes.
Okay.
I'm still dubious to the bear claims.
Yeah.
I think you and a lot of people are.
Yeah.
You know what? It's one of those things I just let lay with Trey.
Well,
and let him.
Trey gets to smoking his weed and all that stuff, and it's hard to keep track of where his brain's at.
I'll let you guys try and get that out of him.
Yes, we have many times. All right, so I have one last question. It's the MeUndies soft question of the day. Go to MeUndies.com/PMT to get 15% off your first purchase. So when you were doing your last show, Twitter and Instagram, they were doing flashbacks, and it was really cool to see your whole career. But I noticed something. You and I share a similarity in that our weight yo-yos drastically. So have you looked back and been like, holy shit, like, I'm fat, I'm skinny, I'm fat, I'm skinny. I mean, I'm never really skinny, but like, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy to see it. What's your secret to always putting the weight back on like I do?
Well, first and foremost, I remember one of the few times ago I saw you guys. You guys were both walking around with big and freaking jugs of water. You guys were doing some crazy thing.
Ketosis.
What the hell?
Yeah.
We
Our
were in good
nutritionist
shape.
had us pissing out fat.
Yes.
I remember that you and your gallon jugs of water walking around drinking them. Listen, I was a fat ass. There was no doubt about it. I finished playing at 31, 32 years old. I was 300 pounds, and I thought I was in decent shape. And I would say, and I hated working out. When I was done, I stopped working out, but I kept eating. And a few years later, I literally walked out of the shower, caught my glimpse in the mirror, and I was like, what the fuck? I looked like a vanilla milkshake. It was disgusting. I was like 315 sloppy pounds. And I'm like, all right, just for my health, I gotta lose some weight. So I got down into the 290s, and then I was in my early 40s, and Mike and Mike was obviously going on. And I was diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic, and my dad was as well. So it didn't overly shock me being the size I was, and it was in my family. So I'm like, all right, I know I got to lose weight more. So I got down into the 60s, but I jumped to the 80s and the 60s. And I said, I gotta really get serious about it. So I did. And through the help of my wife, without question, I mean, the biggest thing, and I'm sure you go through it as well, is snacking. She got rid of all the bullshit snacks in the house. So it was more clean eating. and I'm like 235, 240 now, and I'm like my high school weight, and I feel great. I've had 12 surgeries total, but I've had stem cell on my knee and shoulders to where I can now run and lift again. I feel like I'm in great shape. And the good thing is, because of the yo-yo, you're right, is I've held this weight for about 5 years now at about 235, 240. So I feel really good, but I was certainly big boned. Is that the term we use?
Well,
fluffy.
It's good to be able to be when you're at your lightest to be looking back at pictures and being like, oh, look at that fat ass. It sucks alternatively when you're at one of your heaviest, but you can look back and be like, oh, that was when I was doing well on my diet. Holy shit, how fat have I gotten? Yeah.
What happened? Well, what I did is when we look back at some, and you're right, there were so many pictures out of memories and stuff. I would look at my wife. I said, why wouldn't you tell me what a fat ass I was? I mean, you live with me every day. She goes, I didn't think you were that big. I said, look at me. I said, I'm a fucking donut away from exploding. I mean, say something to me, you know? But so I like I said, I feel great now.
Good.
I probably eat 80, 85 good, 10, 15 bad. Listen, I still love my sweets. I still love my beer. But I just do it a little more moderation to try and keep it down. And, I want to deal well with my type 2 diabetes and, be around for a while to aggravate my kids because that's my job now.
Yes.
No
yes,
snacking.
love it.
That's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not tweeting out snacking videos
Yeah, the
either.
snacking
That's
stuff.
a tough one for you.
Snacking is tough.
Yeah,
It's so tough.
And I'm in the torture chamber now of my son is now eating like real food. So it's just like, here, goldfish for you, 10 for me.
And leftovers. Now you're entering the world of leftovers.
Yeah.
And see, I'm out of that spot now because when I was in that spot, it's exactly right. If I had a snack, it wasn't one peanut butter and jelly sandwich, it was 2.
Yeah.
It wasn't one bowl of cereal, it was 2. I mean, for God's sake, when I was feeding my kids the Pineapple Delight, it was called, the baby food, shit, I was eating that. It was so good. So yeah, you're in a bad spot. It takes way more discipline, something I don't think you have at all.
Nope.
To be able to do it.
Nope.
I'm sorry to say.
No, I'll be up again. Listen, when I get down, I know that it's just a ticking time bomb until I get back up. So we'll see. Just trying to delay it as long as possible. This has been awesome. We really appreciate you joining us. You're welcome anytime. So
listen, I love you guys. I respect the hell out of you guys. I love what you do. So, and anytime you want, man. I'm looking. I got to get my takes going somewhere now.
Yeah,
it's all bottled up now.
True.
What you need to start doing is writing them down, and then maybe like once a month we'll just have you just rattle them off, and then it would be even funnier if it's like, you're like, I think this Blazers team is probably going to win the title, and they don't even make the playoffs, so we can do retroactive tapes.
I was told there'd be no writing. Once college is over, I'm done writing.
Yeah.
Sorry, it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I have one last question. Over the course of those 20 years you were on the radio, this was an ongoing saga. As I mentioned, I was a listener. I was a frequent listener. How many times did you wash your coffee cup?
Oh, man. Wow. I'll be honest, I probably took it home 3 times to actually run through the actual dishwasher. Other than that, I would just rinse it out with water and just leave it on my desk. Sometimes I wouldn't even rinse it out with water. So 22 years and probably got put in the dishwasher 3 times.
Oh,
it was
God,
nasty.
that's disgusting.
No, I don't think that's nasty.
Yeah.
If it's coffee, it adds to the seasoning of the ceramic. Doesn't really do any harm.
Yeah.
I listen, I'm also one of those guys that I'm not afraid to eat some dirt or some germs. I think it helps my immune system.
I agree with that.
Agreed.
I agree with that. Well, Mike, thank you so much. Give our best to the rest of the family. We love the Golics, and we'll hopefully talk soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.